Proverbs 14:1. The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. Hi you guys, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me, and welcome and thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you guys for all of the comments and the messages. It is really a blessing to be in this community. Today I would like to share some information I've gathered from my readings, and I would be so grateful if you can join me as I do some cleaning around my home. In the book I'm reading, Designing a Lifestyle That Pleases God by Pat Ennis and Lisa Tatlock, there are a few tips that are shared on how we can manage our homes with excellence. Getting over a cold, so my voice isn't quite all the way back yet, so please bear with me. So I would like to start off with, what is a homemaker? A homemaker is a person who welcomes with open arms those who grace her doorsteps. She is the person who puts the random pieces of family life together so that those within her walls may know that they are cherished, that they are cared for, provided for, and loved, whether they stay for 10 minutes or for 20 years. A homemaker pours herself into her service of others even when the tasks are thankless. A homemaker understands that her life is supposed to be lived with purpose and mission. And sometimes part of that mission is cleaning the toilets or cleaning the bathroom, making the beds and baking the breads. And she does these things so that those she welcomes and loves encounter a place of warmth and a spirit of peace. A homemaker is snuggling the babies and to sleep and hugging a battle-worn husband after a long day of work, if she is blessed with those. A homemaker opens the door wide for people who look and act differently. She prays for her neighbors, her friends, her family, the community, the church. A homemaker is a chief comforter and recognizes the healing power of a hot meal and a quiet conversation. Being a homemaker does not have to mean that you are the best housekeeper or a stay-at-home mom. Being a homemaker means recognizing the significance of the home as more than a place of entertainment or solitude, and genuinely pushing it toward welcoming and ministry to those within and without. Being a homemaker means allowing people to find a home with you, wherever you are. It could be a dorm room or an apartment, a fixer-upper, a starter home, a beautifully decorated mansion, or anywhere else you reside. The location does not make it home, but you do. Home is home because there is someone who makes it that way. It is the high and holy calling, and one that I'm grateful for being a part of. And I pray that you are as well. What is the impact of a mother at home? Well, the influence we have as mothers is why it is a privilege to be a mother. God Himself entrusted into our hands the incredible job of training, teaching, correcting, loving, and nurturing our children. Our passion for mothering with excellence should be born out of an understanding that we are stewards of our children before the Lord, it is a challenging question to ask, well, what kind of influence am I on my children? I think once we understand God's view of mothering, we need to further discuss what the value of being a mother who stays at home with her children. What is that value? Well, in order to fully appreciate the value of having a mother at home, we need to review God's design for the family. Husbands are to lead, love, and support their families just as Christ loves the church. Ephesians 5:25-29 confirms that, as well as Colossians 3:19. Wives are to love their husbands and submit to their authority as they submit to Christ. Ephesians 5:22-24 instructs this, as well as Colossians 3:18. Children have one obligation in the family, and that is to obey their parents. That's what Ephesians 6:1-3 instructs, as well as Colossians 3:20. God has clearly defined roles within the home for each member of the household. In addition to establishing roles, Scripture identifies specific responsibilities for husbands and wives to fulfill. Like, for example, husbands are called to provide for the needs of their family. 1 Timothy 5:8 instructs this. Love their wives as their own bodies, like Ephesians 5:28 states, and bring up their children in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. As Ephesians 6:4 states, likewise, the woman's responsibilities are clearly defined in the Bible. Proverbs 31:10-31, Titus 2:3-5, and 1 Timothy 5:14 all make it clear that women are to manage their homes with excellence, love their husbands, train their children, practice hospitality, and be involved in ministering to needy people. Reviewing Scripture dealing with the woman's responsibilities makes it difficult to separate mothering from homemaking. Scripture defines the home as the main arena where the woman's influence will be most significantly felt. When any of us may choose to work full-time outside of our homes, we just must be careful that we are not compromising what the Bible identifies as our main priorities, and that would be our homes and our families. While Scripture does not forbid us to work outside the home, it does clearly identify many things that we should be and do. So if we are to work outside the home, we just should choose work and be careful to select our employment that will not cause us to compromise our families and our homes as our priorities. And also, it's noteworthy to mention that just because any of us will be stay-at-home moms full-time or stay-at-home wives, being home full-time does not mean that we are keeping our homes and our families as our priorities either. I mean, we can overcommit ourselves. We can still compromise our priorities. So we can become overcommitted to activities, friends, and meetings and hobbies, ministries also. So none of those activities are wrong, of course, but we can do it both ways, whether we're working full-time outside the home or working full-time in the home. It is just keeping our mindsets stayed on doing what Scripture advises, being pleasing, and doing what we are just designed to do, and that is to keep our homes and our families and care for them and nurture everyone there. So I want to start off with tips and just go through each one that Pat Ennis and Lisa Tatlock has so graciously pointed out. So here is tip number 1. The excellent home manager is teachable. It's in the book, it mentions it takes both knowledge and skill to manage a home with excellence. There are many areas women will need additional training to manage with excellence. I can give one. She mentions an informal or formal training, like taking a class on food preparation or learning from an older woman or someone you know, or anyone who can teach you how to cook. So any education to help us to do something better. So here, Proverbs 1:7 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. So we definitely do not want to be fools. Let us train as though we're training for any other job. Let us train to be better at some things that we may not be so good at. Tip number 2, the excellent home manager is organized. The book says that your home will only be as organized as you are. Organization helps you put in order or arrange the various components of your life. Proverbs 31:27 reminds us that we are to look well to the ways of our households. So we do this with the help of organization, and our family will only be as organized as we are. So we can help them accumulate these wonderful attributes of organization as well. So it will start with ourselves. Maybe we may have a calendar, a to-do list, day timer, our family calendars to keep track of everyone's commitments, a checklist maybe for the kiddos and ourselves, cleaning, we may have a schedule set, meals, we may have meal planning and grocery shopping and routines for that. And other tools that we may use also for organization can be shopping lists, forms that babysitters and numbers that they may have. So tip number 3 is the excellent home manager is flexible. Flexibility means that we are able to adjust or bend without breaking. Becoming a mother has taught me so much about flexibility. Our children do not always follow the plan for the day. It is important to remember that our children are our priorities. And we may have many plans, but Proverbs 19:21 states, "Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand." So interruptions do not come without purpose, so we do need to be flexible as we respond to the Lord's sovereign plan for each day. Tip number 4, the excellent home manager is devoted. Devotion implies that we are loyal and faithful. The primary means for demonstrating our devotion is by practicing Philippians 2:3. Do nothing from selfish or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. Becoming an excellent mom and home manager requires that we often place the needs of our families above our own desires. And this is hard work. As a mother, you will no longer have the comfort of being a morning or night person because you will just be busy both morning and night. And in between, being a successful home manager requires a servant's heart and much personal sacrifice. A devoted mom is definitely a faithful mom. Tip number 5, accomplish one task a day. When we are new moms, especially, or have a newborn, a new baby can be all-consuming, or if we have little ones, it is easy to feel overwhelmed with everything you need to accomplish each day. The never-ending laundry, keeping the house clean and in order, preparing meals, grocery shopping, and other errands can be quite challenging to organize. So, in the book it states, "I have found it very helpful to acknowledge that I cannot accomplish everything on my to-do list in one day without compromising my health and the needs of my family. I can, however, be faithful to accomplish one task a day. The laundry or the grocery shopping are part of the house cleaning. So that is something that we can also look at for ourselves. Tip number 6 is to clean as you go. So she has 2 tips in this section. In the book, it states handle things once. She means put things away as soon as you come across them. Put them in their proper place. Everything must have a place to go. And also the second tip under this, she mentions to pick up twice a day. She will also clean up and tidy up after the kids take a nap or go down for their naps or may have quiet time if your kids are older. So she will clean up during that time. The second time she will tidy up will be right before her husband comes home. So she mentions one way to communicate a peaceful home is to have an orderly home. So putting away toys and other unsightly piles of paper and artwork or crafts will make his welcome home even more comfortable. Tip number 7, manage your meals. We can do this by helping us to get our meals in an orderly fashion on the dinner table. We can either batch cook, which cook a lot of meals at one time, freeze some, and have some already ready, or we can use the crock pot to prepare some meals. We can start dinner in the mornings and allow extra time for food preparation. And like I love to cook more than one meal at a time. It saves me time. I'm going to be cooking anyway. So if I'm going to be cooking beef, I can cook spaghetti, basically meatballs for the spaghetti, beef burgers. I can also cook chili. I can cook a few dishes with that one item. I'm going to be cooking anyway, so why not save time? And also we can allow our kids to help in the meal preparation. That will help us. Tip number 8, learn from others. Anytime we have an opportunity to seek the counsel of an older or more experienced moms, we can always reap those rewards. So do not be afraid to ask questions of moms who have already gone through these stages that we are currently in. And tip number 9, staying engaged with our husbands. It is critical to the health of our marriages and our relationships to protect the time we spend with our husbands, time to communicate, pray, and just enjoying each other's companies. We are their helpmeets, and whether we are moms or not, they are our first ministry that God grants us. So it is important to keep our priorities in order. God first, then our husbands, and then our children, and then everything else will fall into place. Thank you, ladies, so much. I pray that this helps you.